Start with our COVID-19 update. Today, LDH reported 5,304 cases and 90 deaths related to COVID-19 since the beginning. And since the last time we spoke, that's an additional 96 cases and 3 deaths. Our numbers continue to decrease as far as positivity rate, not only in St. Charles Parish, but across the state and especially our region. The positivity rate has decreased in the last 2 weeks to 4.3%. And then 3.2% covering the weeks from March 11th to March 18th. So that downward trend reflected there. March 27th, we did a mass vaccination event at the Edward A. Dufresne Community Center. I want to thank all the council members who came to that to support the administration and the parish leading Region 3 in this effort. Our goal when we initially did this was to fight to have this vaccination site in St. Charles Parish. We believed it was the best location to serve Region 3, and we knew that having it here would give our residents the best opportunity to access those vaccines, and the numbers do reflect that. A total of 626 Pfizer vaccines were distributed that day on March 27th, and we had residents from 10 parishes show up to receive vaccines at the site. So more parishes than just what it encompasses Region 3, as you know. They're not turning anybody away at this point to get a vaccine. Of the 626, 519 were St. Charles Parish residents. St. John the Baptist accounted for 57. Jefferson Parish had 15. Lafourche Parish, 10. St. James used 9. Orleans had 6. Terrebonne, East Baton Rouge, Orange County, Texas, each all had 1 resident. So look at that. We were serving Texas.
Right.
The remaining of that number, which I don't have in front of me, fell into a mismatched zip code or an other category. So the vast majority of them came to our residents, which I'm very grateful for. That puts us, just that much closer. And if you think about it, that's about 1% of our population was vaccinated in a 8-hour period. So doesn't sound like much, but a really big win. Also, I'm happy to report that St. Charles Parish is actually leading Region 3 as far as vaccinations go, with around 17 or 18%. And we're number 3, I believe, in all of Southeast Louisiana, right behind Orleans and Jefferson. Obviously, Orleans and Jefferson have definitely had more supply injected into those areas. So proud of our residents who are making the commitment to get back to normal. And again, I always encourage anybody, if they have the opportunity to get the vaccine, if they're willing to get the vaccine, to get vaccinated. Last week, Governor John Bell Edwards announced that he eased the restrictions in place through April 28th. Masks and social distancing are still required. However, capacity limits have been lifted for salons, gyms, fitness centers, malls, casinos, etc. Businesses and venues that host larger gatherings, along with sporting events, remain capped at about 50%. I'm sorry, not about, at 50%. And with no more than 500 people for indoor events and 50% capacity at outdoor events. Bars and restaurants can resume normal operation hours when serving alcohol. However, per the governor's order, patrons must remain seated while consuming alcohol. I didn't write it. There are 2 vaccination events coming up in the area. The first will be on Thursday, April 8th from 9 to 4, and that's going to be at the Bell Baptist Church in Luling, located at 300 Hackberry Street. The second will be Saturday, April 17th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the 5th African Baptist Church, 174 4th Street in St. Rose. That's for you, Ms. Belloc. Residents can also call 1-800-228-9409 weekdays from 9 to 4 to schedule appointments. More information can be found on our website as well as our social media pages. There's also other places in St. Charles Parish to get vaccinations. St. Charles Parish Hospital in Luling, Winn-Dixie in Luling, Winn-Dixie in Destrehan, NOLA Discount Pharmacy in Destrehan, Ochsner Pharmacy and Wellness in Destrehan, the St. Charles Community Health Center in Luling, as well as the Walmart Pharmacy in Booty. And we encourage residents to call and schedule ahead of time before going to any of those locations to get their vaccine. Also, we don't have the exact vaccine that those folks are distributing. That changes from week to week. But if residents are looking for a particular vaccine, they should call or go to my.ochsner.org to schedule. I want to talk real quick about the rain event we saw. We saw about 9 to 10 inches of rain across the whole parish. I calculated how much of that rain was under pump, and it came out to about 10 billion gallons. I'm going to have to get Miles to check my math on that, but around 70 billion gallons fell across all 411 square miles of our parish. Obviously, not all of that is under pump. A lot of that is marshland, but a tremendous amount of rain. We also took the time to figure out how much water can we pump, and it was something like 5 million, what was it, 5.9 million gallons a second? Is it a second or a minute? Okay, so 5.9 million gallons a minute. Put that in perspective, you can fill the entire Superdome in about just under 3 hours with all that pumping capacity, which I guess we probably got close to that, pumping all that water. Let's see. I'm pleased to report that we had one small structure, only one small structure that did flood. And when we were out across the parish, we saw that a lot of the improvements that we were doing to eliminate choke points, to catch up on maintenance, have made a significant improvement. We also found with that rain event that there's a lot of new things that we didn't see that we have to address as well. So we just add those to the list and keep pushing forward to do that. We were out across months. We saw a lot of water standing in months. Of course, 650 acres of water that we do pump in months comes from St. John Parish. We were also pumping against a high tide, which didn't allow us to use the sluice gates that we have along Airline Highway. And we did see high water levels in the canals in Bayou Gauche. It actually flooded out into the field. And of course, high water on the island with that high tide. But showed you that we do need some significant improvements to the Sunset pumping station, as we had to pump for about a week straight, 24 hours around the clock, to get that water back down to normal. Just wanted to let y'all know about that. Let's see. There was about an additional 51 million gallons that went through our 3 wastewater treatment facilities with all of the I&I. The Luling Pond saw 27 million gallons of rainwater. Destrehan treated about 15 million gallons of rainwater, and Hahnville treated about 9 million gallons of rainwater. So shows you that we have a lot of work to do on the sewer side to reduce the I&I. The wastewater folks like to joke that they help Public Works pump out all of their rainwater, and that's pretty accurate. So a lot of work to do again to address I&I across the parish, and if we can keep that out of our sewer systems, that's more capacity that we have at our sewer systems to be able to expand to accept actual sewer. So we will keep tackling that. As Councilwoman Belloc pointed out in an email, the latest stimulus package included direct dollars to local governments. Right under 10.3 million will be coming to St. Charles Parish. The allowable uses are water, sewer, and rural broadband. And we are looking at making a big investment in our sewer system with that $10.3 million to do some redundancy, to do some resilience, to help us out and actually save the parish a significant amount of money in the future when it comes to backup generators, I&I, small lift stations, et cetera. So looking at doing that when we get that money and get all the full policies in place on how that money has to be allocated and distributed, we will work with the council and send over the projects, the priority list. We're getting that priority list vetted through the wastewater master plans, and we think that it'll make a big improvement to our wastewater facilities throughout the parish. Sales tax. St. Charles Parish saw a 12.89% increase this past month for the month of February. To date, we have seen a total of 8.87% increase in sales tax compared to this time last year. Obviously, this is great news considering what was potentially expected last year. We'll be waiting to get one more month of sales tax, and then we will work with the council on doing a budget amendment to move money into this year's budget. Public Works projects, asphalt repair on South Destrehan Drive. And I want to compliment the safety aspects that you can see in this photo. our Public Works folks are utilizing a new uniform, a new shirt that is a high visibility shirt that doesn't require them to wear a vest. It actually has the high vis reflection built into the actual shirt. And it is highlighter yellow, so you can see them from a mile away. And obviously, we have our signs out. So we appreciate our Public Works attention to safety in this aspect. We had some road work improvements on Willowdale Boulevard to repair asphalt, culvert replacement on Oakley Drive, ditch cleaning in Hawnville. As you can see, there was a stoppage there. You can see the standing water, and the water significantly lower on the other side. So crews worked on getting that blockage out. And I can tell you just want to go back to the rain event real quick. I really want to thank all of our Public Works, our wastewater crews, our waterworks crews, and every department who really stepped up and helped out during that situation. It started raining, and those folks went straight to work to make sure that water kept moving and address blockages. We were out in Norco and personally helped identify a blockage, and Public Works came out there within 5 minutes to take care of it. We ran into Councilman Fisher out there as well. He was checking things out. So we appreciate everybody who goes out and helps make sure that these events run smoothly. All right, continue on. We changed out about 70 feet of bad culvert on Gasson Street in Luling, and that'll help reestablish some drainage through there. We had culvert additions on Jane Street in Parity. We've been focusing a lot of time in Parity to make sure that water is running in the correct direction, and working with DOTD throughout not only Parity, but also DeSalmons on addressing a lot of the drainage issues that we have. I work with Councilman Dufresne regularly on that, and thank Councilman Dufresne and the other council members as well who've helped with Rogers Lane and identifying the folks, the landowners, and helping us identify that there's a need for an upsized culvert by the post office on Rogers Lane. We'll be working on that. We also had Crowslit was out helping us spray ditches, getting the vegetative debris out of there, especially in the areas that are harder to access. This really helps keep the canals down, especially the aquatic grass in the canal. We also swept ditches on Marcia Drive, and we also made drainage improvements on River Oaks and Destrehan Drive, and they're starting a project there. And that's going to be, we ordered more than $80,000 worth of culverts to replace collapsed culverts. And I believe they're upsizing that culvert as well, going through there. So, whereas people's rear servitude wasn't able to drain, we found that water was making its way to Destrehan Drive and over onto Eve Street and Murray Hill and all those. This will help drain that much better and will keep folks from flooding from their backyard. So, appreciate everybody. Appreciate our Public Works' quick attention to that. Animal control updates. On April 11th, Animal Control will host a rabies vaccination drive from 9 to 12 p.m. on both the East Bank and West Bank bridge parks. The cost per animal is $10, and the event will be cash only. Our animal shelter was chosen as one of 7 animal shelters to participate in the Greater Good Charities Good Flight, which will support heartworm treatment, prevention, and flea control for all shelter animals. So thank Dr. Troxler for all of her great work to do that for the animals at the animal shelter and for working to host an affordable rabies vaccination to the public. Procurement auction. The procurement office hosted 2 auctions through our public surplus site. The one hosted in February generated $105,000 in revenue from equipment used at the West Bank Yard, and the March sale generated $132,000, mainly from older Parish vehicles being auctioned off. I want to talk real quick about the Everbridge rollout. The St. Charles Parish EOC and Public Information Office have started to roll out its new emergency alert system. This system enables us to provide you and the residents with critical information quickly and in a variety of situations such as severe weather, unexpected road closures, missing persons, and evacuations or buildings or neighborhoods. Residents can sign up today by texting SCP alerts. We don't have it on the screen. It's all caps. SCP alerts, no space, to 888-777. Or they can go online to scpemergencyalerts.com for formal announcements and a formal announcement of this, and a campaign to increase signups is coming soon. But this is a much more dynamic program than the program we're using currently. So we're looking forward to utilizing it to keep our residents more informed on situations, both emergency and non-emergency. Ed Reed Park Community Build. Volunteers are invited to assist putting together playground equipment at the Ed Reed Park. That's this Thursday and Friday, April 8th and April 9th. The 2-day build will start at 7:30 a.m. each day. Those interested in assisting should contact Courtney Auburn Reese, R-E-I-S-Z, at Courtney@edreedfoundation.org. So if you're interested in doing the community build for the playground equipment at the Ed Reed Park, again, that's April 8th or 9th, 7:30 a.m. each day. Email Courtney@edreedfoundation.org. And that is it for my agenda here.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. I look forward to you coming to St. Rose to do a couple of projects as it relates to wastewater. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to thank the administration for addressing or starting to address the issues at the old fire station Dejan, working with Councilman Dufresne. Right after the rain event, there was one structure on that street that did flood, the only home in the parish. And I thank y'all for coming out there and taking a look at it. And, I know Mr. Dufresne's been on that particular issue for a while now. But also today, one of the other issues with the sign out there was being addressed. I got a photo from the residents. So really appreciate, the efforts towards that issue. Regarding the vehicle auction in March, 132,000 that you mentioned, were those vehicles that Enterprise could have auctioned on our behalf?
So we had some discussion about this. Corey might be able to talk a little bit more about this. We really didn't have any problem auctioning the vehicle.
Right.
They do charge a fee per vehicle to auction.
Right.
So we figured that to save money, we could do it ourselves. And I really want to take the second to thank Thor Dufresne, because he really bird dogged that in procurement and did a great job. In a lot of cases, we got well over the Blue Book value for our vehicles, and we got a lot of these older vehicles, out of our fleet. So I do want to thank him for that.
So that I guess was my point. I also want to thank Mr. Dewsome, because I think he probably thought it was also better for us to handle that in-house, and we were able to negotiate, I guess, with Enterprise to do so, even though in the agreement, I think we were basically allowing them to do it. And just to remind everyone that this is sort of a pilot program, so it's great when we can take a detour and renegotiate a portion of it to the public's benefit, as y'all did in this instance. So good job. Thank you.
And may I just mention, Rochelle in my office has really been crucial to helping risk management to kind of oversee this. Enterprise, of course, doesn't demand that they auction the vehicles, and we were able to do that. There's a fee when they deliver vehicles, and Rochelle's always been able to get enough people to go and pick up the vehicles ourselves and save money off of that delivery fee. It isn't much, but every little thing helps. So.